Open world games in 2026 are aiming for bigger maps, deeper systems, and more dynamic worlds. From massive fantasy realms to grounded modern settings, the year is packed with ambitious open world adventures. Let's get into it.
What you doing up there?
I'm just fixing some leaks.
Grand Theft Auto 6 is an open-world action-adventure game set in the fictional state of Leonida, where players control Jason and Lucia, a criminal couple caught in a wider conspiracy after a failed robbery. The map includes Vice City and surrounding regions inspired by Florida, with cities, swamps, and coastal areas to move through. Gameplay involves driving, shooting, robberies, and interacting with characters while completing story missions and side activities across the state.
I'm here for Lucia Caminos. She's supposed to be getting out.
What's your name?
Jason Duval.
I've seen you here before.
You might have. Hey.
Hey. Hands above your head, now!
You, stay. The new beginnings.
You break the news, isn't it? Trust me, this place is just the start for us.
Ring the bell! Shots for me!
The only thing that matters is who you know and what you got.
Gonna do this? You're doing it right.
Yo, D, this full effect? They got your name, address, they got everything. Us cops, we gotta protect each other.
Like,
You and me, bro. We got this.
We got it.
Say my city, baby! My city!
Come to Bill's Ammunition today. We got more guns than the law allows.
Hey.
Hey, if you got friends, can you hook me up, please?
Petal Runner is a pixel art RPG where players control Callie, a young courier trainee riding a motorcycle through the city of Sapphire Valley with her Hana pet companion, Kira. The story follows their training to become Petal Runners, making energy deliveries, meeting characters, and taking part in mini-games across different districts. Players travel between areas, plan delivery routes, earn certification badges, and uncover a small mystery while the characters grow up.
Laboratory, on behalf of the government, assures that none of the bacteriological attacks will harm...
Rooted is a survival game set in a post-apocalyptic world where players scavenge, craft, build, and hunt to stay alive alone or with others. The map includes forests, villages, and ruined cities affected by past bacteriological warfare, with some areas safer than others. Players gather materials, repair old items, and construct camps or outposts, adding defenses, power, and workshops over time. The game features animals, hostile humans, and evolving world events that change available areas, tools, and threats.
It is crucial to have your ID card with you at all times in case of control. For safety reasons, Army has deployed autonomous civilian security robots. They are here to protect you.
Water has returned to Embervale. Welcome to Vale Water Basin, a brand new water biome shaped.
Enshrouded is a co-op survival action RPG where players control a flameborn warrior trying to rebuild a falling kingdom covered by a corrupting fog. The game takes place in a large fantasy land where players gather resources, craft gear, build bases, and fight hostile creatures and bosses. Combat uses weapons, magic, dodging, and skill trees, allowing different character styles. Up to 16 players can work together to explore the land, construct large structures, and strengthen their characters.
A reptilian species who fought humanity for control of the region for ages. When the Shroud took over Embervale, this ancient enemy resurfaced to reclaim their place in the world. And, unlike you, they can actually fight underwater. You shall fight them on the beaches. You shall fight them on the mangroves. These new bad guys aside, the area is home to new building blocks, terrain types, as well as the new furniture, but also a brand new feature to play with. The water in Enshrouded is simulated in real time. You can bring water to your builds and even use water wheels to prove your crafting. Use a variety of tools to generate, carry, drain water and siphon, or fill up lakes, puddles and barrels. The world is your oyster. Now, there are limits to how much water the game and your computer can simulate before something starts smelling of burnt plastic again. But as with everything else, we will keep working on performance so that everyone can get the most out of Enshrouded. The watering can now shows you useful information about each plant and lets you set maximum growth state. Yes, including trees. You asked, we answered. Last but not least, water currently passes through objects and props, but we know many of you will want to build underwater bases, whether it's a secret entrance to your castle or a full-on Atlantis. So we've included water barrier walls, which can be placed vertically or horizontally. Look fantastic, and most importantly, don't let water through. Now, we recently shared a dev update with you on a bunch of changes we're making to improve Enshrouded. We don't have the time to go into that here, so make sure you go check it out in one of the corners of the screen. Here's the thing, thanks to your feedback on the video, we have improved the chances to get high-end loot in gold chests. Great swords. Finally you can slash your way into Enshrouded, and whether you've got something to compensate for, or you want to look cool as hell, you're sure to make an impression. There is also a new skill to unlock for two-handed weapons that will give you the spin to win attack so many of you have asked for. While we're talking about that, there is a bunch of new skills available, including some that will help you swim longer, dodge attacks underwater, increase your resistances, and also, yes, go full Spartan mode on your enemies. Of course, all of this comes with a level cap increase from 35 to 45, with weapon levels increasing to 50. Now everybody, quality of life. Here's a bunch of things that are cool enough to warrant a shout out. Number 1. Players can now leave during Hollow Hall runs and continue at the last visited save point at the later time. Number 2. Server admins can now add filter tags to their servers. This makes it easier for other players to find the just perfect new home. Number 3. Server bans are now persistent after server restart. This should notably help protect resource worlds from griefing and from Steve. Number 4. Just like the good old days of arena FPS, key and button rebinds are more flexible. Number 5. As mentioned in the dev update video, chests and defeated foes now remember their state, so no more cheesing the loot. They will respawn normally after the area has been left alone for long enough. But wait, there is more. Way too much to put into one video, so please head over to Steam or our website to check out the full patch notes. But there is over a dozen pages this time, as the update is just huge. On that note, thank you for watching the video. Please report any issues you encounter and let us know what you think in the comments. So
Windrose is a survival adventure set in an alternative age of piracy, where players control a stranded courier who must gather resources, build shelters, and survive across a procedural open world. Gameplay combines land combat and naval battles, allowing players to sail ships, fire cannons, and board enemy vessels before fighting on foot. Players craft tools, recruit crew members, and develop outposts while managing supplies. The game also includes challenging boss fights, using melee weapons, firearms, dodging, and parrying.
So vast.
Hela is a 3D adventure where players control a small mouse sent to help a sick witch by gathering ingredients and brewing magical potions. The game takes place across Scandinavian-inspired landscapes with forests, mountains, and lakes, where players move through the environment, solve puzzles, and interact with objects using a backpack tool. It supports solo play or co-op with challenges built around teamwork, item collection, and problem solving while helping restore balance to the land.
Your adventure awaits.
LEGO Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight is an action-adventure game that retells Bruce Wayne's rise as Batman across an open-world Gotham City built in LEGO style. Players move across streets and rooftops using grappling, gliding, and different Batmobiles while taking on story missions and side challenges. Combat mixes combos, stealth moves, and detective abilities to handle groups of enemies and solve cases. The story introduces allies like Robin and Catwoman while facing villains such as Joker, Penguin, and Bane.
Let's get to work.
Who are you?
I think we can help each other.
This town deserves a better class of criminal.
Good evening, Gotham. Join us in a celebration of absolute chaos!
Someone's gotta step up!
Let's get to the root of the problem.
We don't do that.
Sorry.
It's forecast. A freeze is coming.
This is my favorite part.
Imagine what
The Blood of Dawnwalker is a dark fantasy action RPG set in 14th century Europe, where players control Cohen, a man who lives as a human during the day and a vampire at night. The game takes place in an open world filled with medieval settlements, forests, and ruins affected by war, disease, and rising supernatural forces.
I will.
Railborn is a survival game where players build and manage a train while traveling through a world filled with branching tracks. Each railcar can be constructed piece by piece, with systems for power, resources, and water that must be balanced to keep the train running. Players collect rare plants to grow small biomes on board and upgrade their equipment over time. The game supports solo play or co-op for up to 4 players as they move across different environments.
Port Desire, a city that don't belong to anyone, but everyone wants a piece.
No Law is a first-person cyberpunk action RPG set in the port city of Port Desire, where players control Gray Harker, a former soldier pulled back into violence after trying to retire. The game takes place in a dense city built around crime and trade, with missions that can be handled through stealth or direct gunfights. Players interact with different characters, make choices that change outcomes, and use upgrades and gadgets to approach situations in different ways across the city.
My hands in dirt instead of blood. But desire is a fickle mistress. The city won't let me go. It won't forget my name. I asked for nothing, and they still came and took everything. The mayors and anyone that stands in my way, every last one of them. They're gonna learn something real simple.
O sacred stone, join rider and spirit.
Monster Hunter Stories 3 Twisted Reflection is a turn-based RPG where players become a rider who raises, trains, and battles alongside monsters called Monsties. The story begins when a mysterious egg hatches into twin Rathalos, drawing two nations toward conflict and threatening the balance of nature. Players collect monsters, build bonds with them, and use them in strategic battles while traveling between regions and uncovering the truth behind the twins and the growing crisis.
Ace? And I suppose it's your duty to reclaim this territory then?
Endangered species.
When we find an endangered species egg, we take it and hatch it. Then we can return it to the wild, bolstering their population.
Oh yeah, would you call it eco-restore?
Habitat restoration.
This is no relationship of convenience. We understand them and create the right environment for them to thrive. This is a ranger's duty we can fulfill.
Would you mind terribly if I gave you a hand with that particular process?
It looks like a Palico's gotta do what a Palico's gotta do, I suppose. Ready, and... Somnicat won't come back to get you.
You sure?
These kind folks drove the thing off.
Who are they?
Witchbrook is a witch life simulation set in the seaside city of Mossport, where players attend classes at a magic college and build their daily routines. Gameplay includes studying spells, brewing potions, completing assignments, and taking part in rituals while improving magical skills. Players can make friends, form relationships, customize their character and home, and run small businesses to earn money. The game supports solo play or co-op, with seasonal events and townspeople following their own schedules. Blackfrost: The Long Dark 2 is a survival sandbox set in the northern city of Harmont after an aurora disables modern technology. Players gather supplies, craft tools, and manage hunger, cold, and injuries while moving between towns, forests, and farms. The game includes solo play or co-op, letting players form small groups and share tasks to stay alive. It also adds a will-to-live system that tracks psychological resilience alongside physical survival needs. Demon Tides is a 3D platformer where players control Beebs as she travels across open oceans and distant structures, using a flexible movement system. The game features large areas filled with challenges, hidden items, and chests that reward talismans, which modify abilities such as gliding, grappling, or bouncing. Players can place checkpoints, change outfits, and upgrade their moveset while moving between locations with a mobile hub. It also includes ghost races and shared graffiti for competitive or social play.
Moving on, head up, eyes forward, test to the limit, but we never lose faith. Real time, real lost, does my love get across? Please just speak to me, can we touch base? Action, reaction, in the self-closed doors. Guess I need more, so I gotta give chase. Reaching for a lost past, patience that couldn't last. Feeling is dangerous, we couldn't be safe. I can't let the chips fall without a grab at them, so I make the moment all moving like one atom, like a nice flow, pyro, drastically brained, and I'm classically trained for when the price low. Just maintain and keep an eye for the nice goals. But beware of stepping prideful with ice souls. Hit them like a phone break, breaking the street, leaving the status quo, shaking in the street like it ain't slept for a week.
Outward 2 is an action RPG with survival elements where players control an ordinary adventurer trying to survive in the harsh world of Ori. The game requires managing hunger, thirst, weather, and equipment weight while traveling between towns and dangerous areas. Combat involves dodging, blocking, traps, spells, and different weapon combinations, with skills learned from trainers instead of starting powers. Players prepare carefully for encounters and can play solo or in co-op, with defeats leading to injuries, lost items, or other consequences.
To us, immersion is much more compelling than empowerment. We let intensity be defined by the calm that came before. A time to ponder. What does it take to vanquish what is bigger and meaner than you? It's going to take everything you got.
Nioh 3 is an action RPG set in a dark version of Japan's Warring States period, where players fight bandits and supernatural yokai across large open fields. Combat revolves around switching between samurai and ninja styles, allowing heavy weapon techniques or fast, evasive attacks with special skills. Players travel through villages and dangerous regions, facing powerful enemies and bosses while improving their equipment and abilities. The game supports both solo play and online co-op for challenging battles.
Click away, so book a stay at our resort now. Stroll through lush parks, or unwind.
Streets of Rogue 2 is an open-world RPG sandbox where players try to remove a corrupt president using any approach they choose. The game features a large, procedurally generated map with cities, countryside, caves, and other locations, all filled with characters controlled by dynamic AI. Players can fight, sneak, hack, farm, build, or talk their way through missions, using different classes, weapons, vehicles, and gadgets. It supports solo play or co-op with many systems that allow different strategies and outcomes.
This is unbelievable, and we still don't have a release date? Streets of Rogue 2 is coming to Steam Early Access in 2025. Hopefully. Certainly before GTA 6.
Citizens of Pywell. Today, a new chapter in this
Crimson Desert is an open-world action-adventure game set on the continent of Pywall, where players control Cliff, a mercenary trying to reunite his scattered group and rebuild it. The game takes place across plains, deserts, mountains, towns, and ruins, with activities like gathering resources, crafting, hunting, and traveling using mounts or gliding. Combat uses swords, spears, bows, and special abilities, with fights ranging from small skirmishes to large battles and boss encounters against different factions and creatures.
And let your heart speak without fear.
In the end, all will come together as one. We fight for the future of all. Sound the horn of our final battle. Fight! Fight for Pywall!
Your fight is not for revenge, nor glory, nor pride.
This is your hour.
Remember who you are, and let it guide your path. For at the end of it, you will find the answers you seek.
My dear children, I write this letter.
Solasta 2 is a turn-based tactical RPG, where players create a party of 4 adventurers and travel across the continent of Nioh. The game uses a rule set based on tabletop role-playing systems, with combat built around positioning, spells, abilities, and dice rolls that determine outcomes. Players choose classes, manage equipment, and make decisions that affect the story while facing monsters and completing quests. Movement across the map and battles both rely on strategy and careful party management.
Lies. You should have saved her.
She deserves the peace of death.
What an interesting family you must have.
Is that fear I sense? Good.
Stay in the light. Never give in to darkness. Your loving mother, Mahin.
Outbound is a survival and simulation game where players build and manage a mobile home inside a customizable camper van. The vehicle can be expanded with modular parts, workstations, and decorations, while systems for solar, wind, or water energy keep everything running. Players gather materials, craft tools, grow crops, and cook food to meet their needs while traveling across different biomes. The game supports solo play or co-op, with up to 4 players working together. Light No Fire is a survival and building game set on a fantasy planet the size of Earth, where players create a life alone or with others. The world is procedurally generated, with different biomes, creatures, and resources spread across continents, oceans, and mountains. Players gather materials, build homes or settlements, and travel by foot, boat, or flying creatures. The game supports multiplayer communities, allowing players to construct shared bases or travel across the planet together. Chrono Odyssey is an action MMORPG set in a large open world with multiple biomes such as grasslands, snowfields, and swamps. Players create their own characters and take part in real-time combat that uses a special device called the Chronotector, which can stop or rewind time during battles. The game includes quests, dungeons, raids, and PvP, along with gathering and crafting systems for equipment and resources. Players can form parties, trade with others, and shape their characters through extensive customization.
You will sleep through 14 years of flight to your new home.
Subnautica 2 is an underwater survival game set on a new alien ocean world where players gather resources, craft tools, and build bases to stay alive. Players swim through different biomes, scan creatures, and collect materials to create equipment and submersibles for deeper areas. The game includes both solo play and online co-op, with up to 4 players working together to build bases and explore the depths. Progression comes from crafting, research, and adapting to dangerous environments. Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag Resynced is a remake of the pirate-themed action-adventure where players control Edward Kenway, a privateer who becomes involved with the Assassin and Templar conflict in the Caribbean. The game combines ship sailing, naval combat, boarding enemy vessels, and on-foot missions across islands, towns, and forts. Reports suggest updated graphics, denser environments, and RPG-style progression, along with revised combat and exploration systems built on a newer version of the engine. Mortal Shell 2 is a dark fantasy action RPG where players control a harbinger who can possess the bodies of fallen warriors called shells, each with unique abilities and combat styles. The game takes place in an interconnected world filled with temples, forests, and ruined structures, with over 60 dungeons to clear. Combat focuses on timing, posture breaks, and weapon upgrades, allowing players to switch between different shells and build their own fighting approach while uncovering memories tied to each one.
You're a weapon, child.
Bring the eggs back to me.
Solarpunk is a survival game set across floating islands where players build bases, grow food, and craft tools using renewable energy. Players generate power from sunlight, wind, and water, store it in batteries, and use it to run machines and automate tasks with drones. Farming, animal care, and base construction form the core systems, with materials gathered from different islands. The game supports solo play or co-op, with airships used to travel between sky locations. Alkahest is an action-adventure RPG set in a medieval land where players control the youngest son of a minor lord trying to earn a reputation. The game takes place across castles, forests, and villages, with quests tied to political tensions and goblin raids. Combat focuses on melee fighting and using the environment, such as pushing enemies off ledges or using objects as weapons.
Thou shalt not kill.
Chronicles Medieval is a sandbox action and strategy game set in a large medieval world where players create a character and rise from a common soldier to a powerful leader. Gameplay combines direct combat with army command, letting players recruit troops, manage resources, build castles, and take part in field battles and sieges. Different factions, diplomacy, and economic systems affect the world, while player decisions influence territory control and long-term outcomes across the campaign.
I became like them. I took up the sword, prayed I could win redemption through my deeds. But some paths, once taken, have only one ending. I shall find no peace. On this road, there is only death. But that's just my story. Go write your own.
Fable is an open-world action RPG set in the land of Albion, where players create a hero and shape their reputation through choices and actions. The game includes melee, ranged, and magic combat against bandits, beasts, and other creatures. Players can earn money through jobs or property, form relationships with townspeople, and build families while their behavior affects how the world reacts to them. Forza Horizon 6 is an open-world racing game set across regions of Japan, where players drive more than 550 licensed cars through cities, mountains, and rural roads. The game features a festival-based campaign where players take part in races, challenges, and car meets to build their reputation. Players can buy homes, customize garages, upgrade vehicles, and create events using the building tools. The game supports solo play and online modes, including co-op races and competitive events.